to have celebrities come to the facility. Kevin Hart, Tavon started muffing some punts. So it was like, cool, here's your opportunity to go catch some punts.
Did he ever headbutt you pregame?
No, he ain't headbutt me.
Like, stay away from the receivers.
We used to do the whole receiver thing. I kind of, I had to stay away from it. They didn't want to let me get too close to those guys.
All right, we're here again for another episode of Tailgate Talks with DeMarco and Garcia. We are almost through our first full football season, man. It's been fun to kind of stay on top of everything and reconnect, and every week jump on here and talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I know. I that is wild that we're already almost done with it. I mean, we got 2 games left.
Yeah,
Wofford and Clemson. Well, hopefully we'll see what happens with the playoffs, man. I think the playoff picture is looking a little bit more brighter for us. I mean, what are you thinking?
Yeah, and I mean, especially with some of these matchups we have coming up here in the next 2 weeks, and then after that, when you think conference championships and everything else, I mean, I guess there's kind of a perk of not playing for an SEC championship game, because I feel like if you have 2 losses now and you lose in the championship game, that's going to cost a little more than losing, an earlier game. Plus, 2 of our 3 losses, 2 of our 3 losses were to really, really good football teams that might have a chance to be in there as well. So, I think our resume is building. And speaking of resume, this is the first time in school history we beat 3 top 25 teams in the country every week in a row.
That's crazy. For some reason I thought that we might have done that. Or Connor might have.
I mean, going into the season, I feel like it was just such a gauntlet of a season. I mean, well, let's be real. Vandy was ranked in the top 25. That hasn't happened probably ever. Yeah. So, I mean, that was one of them. But, I mean, beating A&M, beating Vandy, and then this past week, sitting here and beating Missouri, getting the Missouri curse off our back, which was nice to beat Drinkowitz. And but, big win. I mean, Lenore threw for 350, 5 touchdowns. Rockets, big touchdown there at the end of the game. I feel like every time that Campbell kid touched the ball, it's a 30 or 40-yard, explosive play. And that was even not just this game, but prior. He wasn't like a possession guy, but he's just a big, explosive play guy. And then Jalen Kilgore to finish the game off with a pick at the end of the game. Willie B was nuts. I mean, I wish he could have come up for this game. The environment was awesome.
Was insane.
Environment was awesome. I mean, that was just one of those games that I feel like Carolina always gets a short end of the stick. It was really cool to see us kind of overcome the odds. And, the defense didn't play great in the second half. We were talking a little bit off there, but we kind of got dented in the run game in the second half, and they were able to kind of have their way running the ball. But, we did what we
found a way.
Yep.
Found a way to win the game, man. That's at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And man, they're kind of clicking on all cylinders right now. So, like I said, and like we talked about earlier, they just got to win out and kind of get some style points as well, and kind of get a little bit of help from some of the teams that are ranked higher in front of us. But I'll tell you what, man, we are easily one of the top 12 programs, I think, right now.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
Fun how it all winds up. We've talked about it a bunch with guests so far, but like the way of college football right now with the portal and NIL, it's weird. There's good, there's bad, there's stuff that makes you kind of ponder what's going on. But I mean,
there's some sketchy stuff as we just talked about. What was that on that Thursday phone call?
Yeah, but I mean, it has been really cool to see kind of the rebalance of college football. Like we've always looked like Georgia's always gone either 12-0 or 11-1 the last couple of years. So is Alabama. So is Ohio State. Like the same 5-6 teams have always kind of cleaned up, and some of those teams have 2 losses now. It's just there's been kind of like, not that it's leveled the playing field, but it kind of has.
No, I agree. Agreed.
And it's been really cool to see just from the competitive aspect. I mean, no games out of anybody's length every week. And we got Wofford coming up, and then the game against Clemson here in 2 weeks is going to be huge for both programs. I think it's honestly probably it is our last audition to get in to the playoffs. So it's going to be, both teams are going to be playing, for the
I'm about to say
opportunity.
Clemson's fighting to get in the playoffs as well. Is Clemson or does the ACC have a championship game?
They do. And who is it right now? It is supposed to be SMU and Miami. So we'll see how everything
Wow.
ends up shaking. But I would love to talk about a preview of the matchup that we have coming up with Wofford, but I don't know shit about Wofford. So
I mean, I remember playing against them
yeah,
15 years ago,
yeah. I mean,
and it sucked.
they used to run triple option. They would cut every single defensive player we had. They hated it more than us, but Wofford, I mean, historically as a 1AA school has been a really good program. They're in state. They're up there in Spartanburg, so not too far away.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to be a game that we can sit here and, just walk into and run the table on them. So I would imagine Shane's going to be getting these boys ready and kind of like we talked about earlier, like getting some style points, really kicking ass where we need to kick ass.
Yeah, they got to. I mean, that's pretty cool, that we've beaten a ranked team 3 weeks in a row
Mm-hmm.
for the first time ever. I literally had no idea. So that was kind of cool when Dakota said that. But yeah, got to get some stop points. Got to kind of whip some ass these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think we will. I think the team is clicking on all cylinders. I mean, this past week was a very well balanced game. I wouldn't say we ran the ball 30 to 40 times. It wasn't like we were averaging 9 yards a carry. Rocket only had 50 or 60 yards. Lenore's had 50 or 60 as well. But we did what we needed to do and got the dub. And now on to this week's guest was a recent Hall of Fame inductee, Pharoh Cooper, longtime NFL receiver, Gamecock great. Was very excited to see him get inducted when he did. He, it was a couple years after us, but he left a lasting mark here at Carolina. I think he broke some of Alshon's records.
I think so, yeah.
Absolute stud, was an all-pro kick returner, had an interesting NFL career, which we kind of, when we started doing the research and digging in, was kind of up and down, kind of like Mike Davis's career as well. Had highs of highs and lows of lows. Injury in there too, which kind of put a wrinkle in it. But
as it does.
yeah, but he was
That was a fun interview, man.
He was an awesome interview.
That was really cool. But yeah, I mean, there's I feel like we say it every single week, man. Some of the backstories and some of the growing up stories that these guys have shared with us, I had no idea. I had no idea about DJ or Melvin and we played with those guys for 4 years. So, getting a chance to talk with Pharoh, kind of off script and, actually during the show was pretty impressive, man. He's got a hell of a story.
Yeah. Pharoh was the first interview of those three. The order was Pharoh, Melvin, DJ, and then they all came together and we all kind of got the clip at the end. And from Pharoh's interview all the way through everybody else's interview, Pharoh anchored down at the bar and was sitting there crushing Manhattans. I remember when he came over there, he was like, "Whoa, man, this is a heck of an afternoon."
Yeah, but that's get some truth serum going, and but yeah, man, he had the giant grin going. He was feeling dangerous. So
yeah, well,
yeah, it was a really fun show.
Yeah, I mean, it was his weekend too, so I was glad to for us to all celebrate together. Huge honor for him. But no, this is going to be a really fun episode for you listeners to tune in on. And guys, don't forget, we're on every social media. So make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. And as you go, and if you listen to it, watch it, whatever you do, we're on Apple, Spotify, but leave us a review. If you like it, hate it. If you hate it, screw you. But if you like it, love it, make sure you comment and give us a review. This is, we're trying to build this thing. And Steve and I are pretty confident that we are the greatest Gamecock podcast out there right now. And we need y'all's support to continue to keep going.
Absolutely. Yep. Get it done.
All right, here we go. We're at the Vista here, the new Steel Hands Distillery location down here in the Vista. Joined by the newest 2024 Hall of Famer, the University of South Carolina, Pharoh Cooper. Dude. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Huge honor. We knew it was all in due time that it was going to happen. But not too bad of a drive down from Charlotte.
Not at all.
Where you're living at now. Just going through, you were freshman all SEC, and then your junior and your sophomore and junior year were first team all SEC. Pretty good run in 3 years. And then you went on to had the heck of a career in the NFL, but proud of everything you accomplished. And first off, thanks for giving us the time this weekend. I know this is a crazy weekend for you, and it's about you, but appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks for having me.
So, you're from North Carolina. We ask everybody this: why the hell did you pick here?
The SEC.
Yeah, I mean, you were 4-star. Like, you could have went damn near anywhere in the country.
Yeah, there's other SEC schools that recruited you, I'm
but
sure.
Not even though. You probably wouldn't even guess, but I had 4 offers coming out of high school. 4 offers.
That's
it was,
nuts.
UNC, ECU, NC State, and South Carolina.
No, that's wild.
So at
it
the
was
time,
the
when
SEC hook.
if you know, back then at the time was like, I mean, still now it's a no-brainer. I'm gonna go to the SEC and play ball. And, UNC didn't even actually offer me, like UNC growing up as a North Carolina kid, you wanted to play, for UNC.
Yep.
They didn't even offer me till, my senior year after the state championship game, after they saw me play.
Slap in the face.
Yeah, slap in the face. They did a whole lot of bad recruiting and things that kind of just didn't sit with me and some of the other players there. So South Carolina was a clear-cut decision.
I'll tell you what, that's reminiscent of what Mike Davis was saying with Georgia. Like, they didn't offer him until kind of like the last.
Well, I feel like North Carolina and Georgia, they were both good programs at the time, so they kind of felt like entitled, like, hey, all we got to do, we can sit here and wait and play the waiting game. All we got to do is throw it at them.
Right.
But, like, compared to last week, we had Lenoris on.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of knew that we could have had Lenoris when we offered him and ended up doing that. So I'm glad that they dragged their feet with you, because I'm glad you were in the Guardian Flag.
Yeah, I made the right decision for sure.
You did a lot of awesome stuff here. All right, so going into, like, your childhood, your grandpa and your dad were both Navy? It's like
Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps? Okay, so they were Marines. Like, military kid.
Man, do not confuse the two.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I took that amphibious warfare class. Just a quick little story while I'm thinking about it. So I graduated. I took an amphibious warfare class here in South Carolina with a class full of Marines. They're in their entire, outfits.
Yeah.
I'm dressed in like this, and we played Navy that year. And Colonel Reisner actually was texting him the other day, and he's like, "All right, class dismissed. Everybody stands up, does the whole thing." And I kind of like, just kind of slouching or whatever. And he goes, "As you know, we have a civilian in the class," and I'm the only civilian, clearly. He just so happens to be the quarterback for the team, and they're playing against these. Not gonna say it. They're playing against Navy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa!" And these guys are hoorah! Yeah. I was like, "Whoa, guys! I thought we were on the same team."
Will you guys come block for me this week?
he goes, "We just call them when we need a ride." I mean, the Marines are a different breed of people. Yeah. So that's my little quick story.
Tell
but
us
don't
about
confuse that.
As a military kid, how did that shape you? Kind of discipline, time structure.
Yeah, I think it was huge. A lot of credit to my dad. He did the military, so we were stationed in Cherry Point, Havelock, North Carolina. Just from a young kid, it was always, in the military, they're big on mannerisms. Respect will take you a long way. So I remember just growing up as a kid, it was, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, please. Little things like that that'll carry you a long way that people really kind of, forget that. So growing up, it was straight discipline, finish what you start. Just the kind of, the basic life things that you should, have.
Well, that's the mindset that's going to carry you forward for forever. I mean, that was the big thing with Coach Spurrier when, I want to say within the first week, he was like, we're going to respect everybody that work, like janitors, equipment managers, video people, we're going to respect everybody that are part of this team, and we're going to treat everybody as equals. Yeah. So,
and it's a lost art now, man. Dealing with these quarterbacks in Tampa and just dealing with other people, nobody says yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. It's always like, yeah, sure.
I know, my kids, it drives me nuts.
It's a
What'd you say? Yes,
Yeah.
sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
A quick little ass whipping.
Yeah. So
all right, so you got here your freshman year. I don't know whose dumbass idea it was to put you at DB to start, but you came in as a DB. And then during fall camp, they moved you a receiver, and they're like, shit, we got something here.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to Perry about it this morning, and I was like, "Do you have any stories about Pharoh? Just something on him." He's like, "Yeah, he was recruited as a defensive back, and all of a sudden he's making picks and toe tapping and doing all this other stuff." And he's like, Coach Spurrier had a major hard on, and it was like, that guy's coming on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. 2 weeks in.
2 weeks. He said it happened quick.
Yeah, it happened pretty quick. I honestly wanted to play defensive back, and the thing is, they put me at cornerback. And in high school, I played safety. I was like a ball hawk and safety. I was trying to I played baseball at an upper ring, so I'm really good at tracking the ball.
Yeah,
like that's why I'm pretty good.
Pretty evident.
Yeah. So I was, my whole thing was be that back there tracking the ball, being a free safety, and they had me at corner, which wasn't really my thing. I'm not a cornerback. So I, made a couple plays, but not enough to where I'm like, let's keep him there. So Spurrier was like, let's go to receiver.
Yeah. We want him on offense.
Yeah, he saw me. Saw me catch a punch and played in the Shrine Bowl on offense and all that. So he saw what I could do as an offensive player too. So yeah, he made the right decision though for sure.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah, it came out well.
I'd say. Go ahead.
I mean, you came in as ace left, and you came in and you took over the returner duties right away.
Yeah.
Did you know much about it? I mean, Ace was on a couple weeks ago. Did you know much about Ace? Did you track his career? Like, would you, knowing that he left, you were going to come in and be the guy right away? Like, tell us about what you took from Ace.
I didn't really. I started watching my junior after I committed, but I remember Ace. Kind of the big reason I committed to South Carolina. I came up maybe my junior year or sophomore year, and y'all played Georgia.
Yep.
And you had
And Ace Sanders had that punt return touchdown, and the crowd just went crazy. And I was just like, I gotta come here. Like the environment is crazy. So whether he knows it or not, he's kind of a big reason. After that play he made, kind of like, oh man, I had goosebumps like watching that play. I was here for that game on a recruiting trip, and that kind of played a big role in why I actually committed to South Carolina.
I think he would love to hear that story.
Yeah. I mean, I was back. I mean, I was on the sideline when that happened. I was in Kansas City at the time. That was our bye week. I came back. That was
electric.
I mean, it was really cool when we beat Alabama, but we kind of kicked Alabama's ass the whole time. But that one play, finishing right at the student section, like I remember sitting there and I'm like, man, can I come back and play like one more quarter?
Yeah.
I mean, people still say that's the loudest they've ever heard the stadium. I mean, I could only imagine.
Yeah, it was crazy because he muffed it.
Picked it up, like, time to go.
Yeah, that crowd went crazy. I remember watching it as like either sophomore and junior in high school. Back then that means like everything to you as getting recruited.
Oh yeah, you get something like that.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was like, yeah, South Carolina's probably.
Did you want to play DB or receiver in college here?
I wanted to play safety.
Yeah,
I wanted to play safety. Yeah. I wanted to play.
I mean, obviously it worked out.
Yeah, it did work out. I think I mean,
so
it's hard to say now, but I think I could have had a pretty good career as a safety as well.
I mean, as a ball hawk,
Yeah, just knowing me as a safety, I think I could have, like, tracking the ball. Like, there's so many plays I see nowadays.
Earl Thomas type, just sitting back there.
Yeah, like these safeties have no ball skills and just like like angles and pursuing the ball, and
that's why they play defense.
Yeah, that's true.
And the catching wasn't a problem, so I think I could have excelled as well. But
So were you upset, pissed off, disinterested when Spurrier brought you on offense?
No, I was excited.
Okay.
Because I was gonna play.
Right.
It was like, go ask the defensive coaches, they think you're gonna redshirt or play. And it was Grady Brown at the time and Coach Whammy, Lorenzo Ward.
Yeah, Whammy. Crazy ass.
It was like probably redshirt you. And I came back to Spurrier after that team meeting. He said, okay, go to the offensive room. And probably like a week later, played UNC Chapel Hill. He threw me on a go route. I didn't catch it or anything, but he just wanted me to play some offense. And the next week had some Wildcat packages in. Just kept expanding on that role and went from there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no at this point. I don't think is there an all-purpose back position in All SEC, All American anymore. I mean, you were All SEC receiver and All SEC all-purpose back 2 of your 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's really a thing. But going in your freshman year, you threw a touchdown, you ran for a touchdown, and you caught a touchdown as a freshman.
Did I?
That's what the history book said. We're not going to argue that. But there's I don't know if, like, from a historian standpoint, if there's anybody that's ever done that before. Like, talk about your versatility and, they just want to get the ball in your hands. That's basically what it's saying.
Yeah.
But they were just trying to find a way. How can we incorporate Pharoh into this offense?
Yeah, that was pretty much the whole thing because at the time, the receivers core was pretty good. I know we had Demir Bird on the outside with some speed.
Yep.
Bruce was there, 13.
So Bruce was the starting slot receiver. So I wasn't going to start my freshman year. That's how Wildcat came about. I couldn't remember who was the third receiver on the outside. It was Bird.
Was Nick Jones
Was it
gone?
Nick
Nick
Jones?
Jones.
Nick
Nick
Jones.
Nick Jones was a
He was an
dog.
outside
Quiet.
receiver?
Yeah, he was outside.
Quiet career.
Yeah,
That's
he was
wild.
a dog. Nick was a dog.
Nick was, yeah.
Those are the three guys, and Shaq. I believe Shaq might have been there as well.
Shaq Rowland.
Shaq Rowland was there too with Connor that freshman year. So I was, had to find my way with Wildcat, and that's kind of how it came out to be. And I started throwing passes to Bruce, started throwing passes to Connor, and I did throw the touchdown pass against Clemson.
It was?
That's right, yeah.
To seal the game, to win the game.
Was that
yeah,
B. Wilds, right?
Brandon
Yeah.
Wilds.
To be wild, Brandon Wilds, yeah.
What the hell's he doing?
Not sure.
I don't know where he's living at. He was with me in Atlanta in 2014, 2015. He played for 3 or 4 years.
We gotta figure out a way to reach out to him.
Yeah, I think he might be here. And I know he's from here.
Okay. He's local. Oh yeah, he's Blythewood.
Blythewood guy, yeah, somewhere up the street. Yeah.
All right, so going into the next year, Connor had a hell of a run. Connor never lost a game at Williams-Brice Stadium. Was he 21-4 was his overall career record, whatever it was. So you lose Connor, Clowney, Bruce, and Kelsey Quarles.
Yeah.
All leave. I mean, those are like probably the top dogs in the locker room.
Yeah.
Tell us about, if you can remember, the off season of 2014 and how you guys. I know Dylan was there for 1 year afterwards. But tell us about like revamping after all those guys leaving. I mean, that was a huge hit.
Yeah, that
but
is.
You guys went and had that was your 1,100-yard season.
Yeah.
If you remember anything about that off season, like who stepped up, who kind of took over.
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, Mike Davis had a big year.
Yeah, it was Mike. Mike was our running back. Honestly, probably, I think Dylan had a big say in that and kind of stepped up, vocally and as a leader. At that time I was still young, and Mike was, he had a big year year before.
Sky was there.
Yeah,
Sky played as a
Sky.
freshman a bunch too.
Yeah, we had a lot of young guys at that time. A lot of the big guys had left. We had a lot of young guys.
It was a big thing that jumped off because you guys won 11 games in 13, and then in 14 you guys went 7-6. And then 15.
That's when they opened up against A&M, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
we
was.
opened up against A&M and got blown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kenny Trill or whatever they called him.
Yeah,
The quarterback for
yeah,
A&M.
yeah, we got blown out. I can't really remember too much about the whole off season though, but I do remember we had the best offense in the nation that year though.
Dylan,
Yeah, we had the best offense statistically wise, but we had the worst defense.
I want to say you have. I looked it up. It was like you scored 32 points a game, but you gave up 31 points a game.
Yeah, it was
It was like
bad.
That's
so
wild.
that's just above. That's
Yeah.
7-6.
Yeah.
Like that tells the story.
Yeah,
right
it
there.
was bad. We had like our offense was very good that year. That's the year I kind of really took
You had
that.
11, you had like
That
almost
next-
1,200 yards
that
that year.
next that's when I became the number one. We was like really, really rolling, me and Dylan, and then that defense was just bad. I was like, we had no pass. It was just bad. Yeah.
Tell us the difference in playing with Connor and Dylan. I mean, Connor, like he's said it on here a bunch. He's like Coach Spurrier would mock him, like, you make this game too hard. Just throw the ball on time to the open guy.
Yeah.
And Dylan will sit back there, like he'll sit on you. Like he knows where he's going with the ball. He wasn't trying to get overly creative.
Yeah.
He was going to get the ball out.
Right.
Where Connor was a little like, how can I make something work here?
Right. Yeah.
Tell us the difference in those two.
Yeah, see, I know a little bit more about Dylan because I played with. I wasn't really honestly. I probably caught maybe 1 or 2 passes from Connor.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I was only doing the Wildcat stuff. But I just remember Connor. He was real quiet,
Yeah.
calm, collected, and cool.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Cheers to you, Connor. Thanks for waking up,
Yeah,
man.
it was just, and as a young freshman, I was still trying to take everything in. I was young, I ain't have no vocal voice or nothing. I was like, nobody listening to me, so I was just kind of sitting back watching everything. And I just remember Connor. I think he was still bald at the time.
Yeah.
He's always been ball.
Yeah, like real quiet, real calm, real cool, and just
a competitor.
Competitor just went out there and won games, and I was just like, that's kind of what I remember the most about Connor.
I mean, Connor has said so many times, I mean, on the show here, like, he attributes a lot of his success to Dylan and says that, like, he knows that Connor wasn't the glue guy. He wasn't the loud guy getting everybody together.
Yeah.
Connor was to himself. He was going to execute. He's a competitor.
Yeah.
But he said Dylan was, like, the guy that, like, kind of brought everybody in, made everybody kind of feel the culture and all that.
I remember Dylan doing that
As a
when
freshman.
I was there, and I was like, shut the hell up, kid. Like,
Throw a straight ball first.
yeah, like, what are you doing? You're freaking skipping a 3 or 5 semi, dude. Like, I don't need all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, I like Dylan a lot. I mean, he's, you know, with the
He's with the Redskins now.
Redskins,
DQ.
yeah.
He's player
Yeah.
development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan's done a really good job.
And Dylan
He's
was
a good
with the Rams
dude.
for a little bit too.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
came out for 1 year. I
He
think
set school record yards passing,
Yeah.
touchdowns in that year.
Did he? Did he?
Yeah.
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 Thanks
Yeah,
to
he
you.
did.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah, that's a big,
yeah. If I say we was
Sure.
rolling. Yeah, me and Dylan were rolling.
So I was talking with Perry about this morning, actually, and I was like, what about Pharoh made him almost like wide open? I remember like watching highlights. I was like, how the is this kid open this often? And like your first step, attribute to route god, right?
Yeah.
No, but your first step, like
You separated
on a
like
slant,
crazy.
you separated like hell,
Yeah,
and you got the ball in your hand, and you were gone.
yeah.
It was, yeah. I mean, I was
I
sitting there
was
watching
sitting there,
NFL
yeah.
games, and I'm like, holy smokes, can we draft this guy next year? Like, I want him on my team.
I was like, the slot receiver that big should not be moving
Yeah.
like that. So I mean, how, is that just raw athleticism? Did you work on it?
But he was a
Like,
DB. You know, you played quarterback, receiver. You played everything in high school.
Yeah,
Like,
everything in high school.
did junior develop you that much?
my bad. I didn't want to. Sorry.
Junior.
Sorry. I mean,
Junior's my guy, man.
I mean, God-given talent, obviously. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
wouldn't
think a
give
lot of
yourself a
stuff is
chance.
just God-given talent, man.
Yeah.
Coaches are kind of just there to,
direct you, guide
yeah,
you,
teach you the plays, guide
give
you,
you
direct you.
give you tips.
Yeah, give you tips. They can develop you. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of it's that player is just
Yeah.
it's in your blood.
right.
Like, it's in
Well, it's their
who you
job.
are.
It's their job to get it out of you.
Yeah.
Like they know,
Right.
and that's I guess that's part of the coaching, the development process too. Is
Yeah.
like to push you so hard that you want to dig deep and go get it.
Right.
And Junior was good at that. I will say that.
Yeah, like the more of the all that creating separation. That's more some of the off-season stuff that
Yeah.
you and your guys do in Florida, trying to learn that stuff. As far as when you're playing in college, I don't necessarily think those receiver coaches are teaching you like step them up
yeah.
inside, get out. They can do a little bit, but
Did you play basketball and everything in high school
yeah.
too?
So growing up, I think playing multiple sports helped me out a lot.
It's resounding.
Every single person you've had on this show said the exact same thing.
Yeah, playing multiple. I think it's the best thing to do.
You're developing so many skills that are going
Yeah.
to carry over all across the place.
Carry over. I think baseball, helped me a lot.
Tracking the ball, yeah.
Never ran track and field.
Should've.
And going back to the
Probably would have been a good idea.
going back to my first step on the slant, I was always pretty quick. Even like as a kid, I was always my acceleration was pretty good always.
Me and Steve too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a while for the train to start going.
But top end wasn't like Bird and them boys. Top end they can
that's-
go. I was never really a burner. That wasn't my game.
Yeah, but you had like 470+ yard touchdowns.
Yeah. I won't get caught though.
Yeah.
I won't get caught. I'm fast enough. pretty
Fast
much.
enough
Yeah,
not to get
fast
caught.
enough. I ain't gonna get caught from behind, but I wasn't really like a 4.3,
Yeah.
4.4 guy. I just wasn't. I was a ball player. I
Yeah.
just went out there and made plays.
I
You
love
did
it.
that. Well, you had 233 yards, which is still a school record, receiving against Tennessee in
Yeah, I thought
2014.
Leggett was gonna break out. I was kind of scared.
Stop
I was watching
throwing him
the
the
game
ball.
like, yo, like, yeah,
Chill,
drop the
X.
pad. But I was like, dang, like, but I still kept the record. That was cool. But it would have been cool if you would have broke it, but
Not really.
I'm kind of happy.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, and they played I think they played like some small school. I'm like, it ain't gonna count if it, I did it against
Yeah, he goes to Tennessee.
It ain't gonna count. I was kind of hoping he got it, but he didn't.
I love it.
That was pretty cool.
That's
Pretty
the
cool to
competitor
have.
in you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, let's, you put Coach Spurrier on the spot. Tell us about 2015 when that was your junior year. Tell us about him leaving, what that did to the locker room, kind of the feel, vibe.
Yeah, so that year, 2015, I think we were already off to a bad start. And Spurrier, he was used to winning.
Yeah.
I guess those last, 5 years, I mean,
Rolling.
We spoiled him.
Yeah, y'all were rolling. I wasn't there yet, but y'all were rolling. I mean, that was a big reason a lot of guys
You're part of
were
the
there.
11-win season.
That last one, I was a part of that. And then we just, kept losing and losing, and Spurrier just kind of got tired of it. I think we was rotating quarterbacks. I think we started with, I think we started Connor Mitch that year.
Yeah. Oh, did you really? And then
Yeah.
was Bentley there that
It
year?
was Connor
15?
Mitch, then
Perry.
maybe Lorenzo Nunez.
Okay.
And then
Perry was in
came,
there, right?
Yeah, I think I had 3 quarterbacks that year. I think Connor started it off though.
Okay.
And Spurrier, I think he just kind of just got tired of it. And when he left,
Okay.
told us in practice, he called us up after practice and told us like, hey, I don't think I'm the right man for this job. I think kind of everybody was already clocked out at the time, and they broke the news, I guess, that on TV that same night. And I don't really remember the mood of the locker room. I think everybody was just kind of at that point though. When he left, I knew I was leaving.
Yep.
And I kind of already had an idea I was gonna go, but that kind of solidified it.
Yeah.
I knew there was gonna be coaching changes. I didn't want to stay for
Be part of that.
Be part of that. Once Ferguson done, I was like, all right, I'm going to let me stay healthy and try and get ready for the next level.
But Sean Elliott's back at South Carolina now.
Yeah.
He stepped in as the interim head coach.
Yeah.
Ended up going to Georgia State and had a hell of a career at Georgia State.
Yeah.
And that was his first crack at being a head coach. Like the dude brings the energy all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about him stepping up in that situation. That's tough.
Yeah. I love Coach Sean Elliott. Yeah. I can't wait to see him today. Actually, I'm glad he's back. I think it's great for the program. His energy.
He's intense, man.
Yeah, I think that's.
Did he ever headbutt you pregame?
No, he ain't headbutt.
Yeah, you're like, stay away from the receivers, coach.
We used to do the whole receiver thing. I kind of, I had to stay away from it. They didn't want me to get too close to those guys. Sean Elliott took over. And he did a great job as far as keeping us, head down, keeping us work, keeping us motivated. We found a way to win a couple more games that year, but. As far as just being a leader and a coach, I think, he was the right man to step in for us going through that time where it was like, yo, what just happened?
We're fired up.
Yeah, this guy just hauled ass in the middle of the year.
Just left. And
I've been there before.
All right, so being from North Carolina and then spending 3 years here in Columbia, South Carolina, getting drafted in the 4th round to LA.
He starts smiling
that
immediately.
smile tells itself an East Coast, Carolina guy thrown out on the West Coast in the busiest town you could possibly think of. Tell us about being a rookie with some money in your pocket.
Yeah, man. The whole money in your pocket was the crazy part, man. Growing up in a small town, have maybe two stoplights. And come to Columbia, South Carolina, obviously.
Whoa, there's big buildings here.
Ain't nothing going on here, just, college football, whatever, college sports. And I remember I got that call from LA and I got there. The first thing I went to go look for an apartment to live. Paying $3,000. I'm like, yo.
I thought this would buy the building.
I'm like, $3,000. I was a rookie. I'm like, $3,000. And I still remember getting my signing bonus. And seeing the taxes on that thing, man. Just cut it right in half. And it was like, welcome to the California taxes. Welcome to the California rent. The gas, it was just crazy.
I don't want to get too political, so I'm not going to say anything.
But at the time, man, we was, like you said, I think I was 21, with, 6 figures in my pocket. You could blow that stuff in California.
What was your first purchase?
Yeah,
that'd be a good question to start. What was your first purchase?
My first purchase, I got my signing bonus. My first purchase was I bought my car. Yeah. I bought a Porsche Panamera.
Yeah.
It was my dream car. I actually saw it here in Columbia one time, riding around.
I always wanted one of those little coupe bags.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get that car when I get drafted, and I bought a Porsche Panamera. It was a used one, maybe I think my financial advisor at the time was like, don't spend more than $65,000.
Yeah, you got a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I bought my Porsche Panamera and kind of went from there.
Yeah.
So
obviously access to everything in LA.
Everything.
Who was the most? Obviously there's a lot of famous people on your team.
Yeah.
But who was movie, music? What was the most starstruck you ever were out in LA?
Starstruck.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio. If he walked in this building right now, I'd be like, I don't know what to do. Wouldn't know what to say.
Probably, I think I went to a movie premiere. Saw Denzel Washington.
Denzel?
Yeah,
that's badass.
Yeah, pretty starstruck. And really, honestly, at the time when I got drafted, Tavon Austin.
Yeah,
he was on the team. West Virginia. Tavon's he's that guy.
Yeah.
So he actually called me when I got drafted, whatever, Tavon. And when I seen him, I was kind of like, that's Tavon Austin. Everybody knows
that's pretty cool. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Him and Noah Levine.
And then,
that's all West
going to some of
Virginia.
the basketball games, seeing LeBron James. Yeah. We used to have celebrities come to the facility. Kevin Hart came to one of our.
Is he over 5 feet or?
I'm taking the under.
No way.
I'm
Really?
taking the under. Yeah. Nah, he's probably like might be 5'4", 5'5". He's a small guy.
Yeah.
Damn,
Funny as
that's a
shit,
tough deal.
Yeah, he came to one of our training camp, Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
He's a small guy though.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of people out there. I just can't really think off of my head, but a lot of rappers,
Yeah.
Future and Young, a lot of rappers and stuff.
Who did you mold your game off like after?
Yeah.
Like who was your we were football, baseball, basketball. Like who did you?
I used to love Percy Harvin.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah, I used to
I
love
mean,
Percy
he shattered some of our.
He tore our
Hopes
ass
and
up. Oh my god.
Yeah, I used to love Percy. Growing up, I was always a Percy Harvin fan.
He was.
He
might have been
the only guy though, Percy Harvin.
He might have been the best football player I've ever seen in live person.
If he didn't have the migraine, headache stuff, that I mean, golly, would
That's
that
what
guy come
Urban Meyer said. Urban Meyer said he's the best football player he's ever seen when he had him at Florida.
He scored, I think he played against us 3 times, and I think he scored 5 touchdowns in 3 games against us.
It might have been one game in that 07 or 08 on the swamp, 56-6. That was fun.
Yeah, he was quick and fast and strong.
Right.
He was a dog. I used to love watching his highlights. And
He's a stud. What was the, I mean, you had your junior and senior year, you had over 2,000 yards receiving here at Carolina. You go to the NFL, you're not really a receiver in the NFL, you're more of a strictly return specialist. What was the big difference in being a receiver, other than being bigger, stronger, and faster and better than everybody in college?
Right.
What was the big stuff in the NFL, transitioning as a receiver in the NFL from college?
I would just say the speed of the game and really having to work a release.
Yeah.
Like, I would say the difference from high school and college ain't really the talent-wise, but from college to the NFL, the talent-wise is night and day.
That's honestly kind of shocking to hear.
Really.
It honestly is. I figured it would be a lot more of a jump from high school to college than college to NFL.
You got to think there's 2 NFL players, 1 to 2 NFL players on each college team.
Yeah.
So you put like.
But how many high school DBs are college level? See what I'm saying? I feel like it'd be. That's wild.
I thought college was really easy.
That's wild. That's wild.
You made it look easy.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for me to say, but I think college was.
What's the difference? Are they put more handsy? They're more technical. Like, what's the difference?
I think it's more. They have more common sense. I guess they might just be smarter.
Conceptual, yeah.
Yeah, like I'll watch a college game and a guy take an angle like dude, like go that way, don't run at them.
They're pros,
yeah. You like
the detail
kind of pros. It's the speed of the game and kind of I guess the smartness part of it.
Okay.
A lot of guys there's not a lot of guys that are smart football players.
Yeah.
They might be athletic, but they're just not smart football players. So I think that was kind of the biggest difference in the speed of the game.
Yeah.
Playbook
too. I mean, Coach Spurrier, we talked about it a bunch, had a pretty simple offensive playbook.
Yeah, very
menu
simple.
1 through 10, kind of the same concept with the same concepts.
And in the league, being open, this is like open in the league.
Right.
The distance between me and you, that's open in the NFL.
Yeah.
College, it's the
just
size
put
of
the
this
ball
table.
around me.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that's probably the biggest difference. Separation, learning how to, create separation.
Well, how did you do it, man? Because like I said, I was talking with Perry this morning. I was like, I just remember watching him, and for some reason, he always just seemed to be wide ass open.
Yeah.
So the separation, like.
I just thought it was easy. Like I just didn't think those guys were good. I mean, I just don't think they were. I don't know, man. It was.
Well, you're
kind of hard to talk about.
You're exposed to
that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then looking back, like how hard the NFL was compared to college, like you made it look really easy.
Yeah.
All right, going into 2017, first team All-Pro, Pro Bowl as a returner.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, and then I also want to talk about the injury in 18 and kind of what that did to your career. So talk about the Pro Bowl first.
So 2016, that year my rookie year I got hurt. I tore my something in my back. I can't even remember what it's called now. So kind of missed maybe 8 or 9 games. We were pretty bad that year. I probably came back after IR, maybe played like 4 or 5 games. Didn't really play too much. We already had the team established or whatever. And that was Coach Jeff Fisher.
Yep.
So
that was Hard Knocks, wasn't it?
No, the next year.
Next year was Hard Knocks?
Next year was Hard Knocks.
D. Stu played for him, right?
Yeah. So then as a young guy, I didn't really understand that the NFL was really like a business until Sean McVay came in. We hired Sean McVay, and then clean house.
Yep.
Yeah, Fisher and all the guys that came and got me were gone.
Right.
Yep.
And Sean McVay came in, he drafted Cooper Kupp, right, his man.
Yep.
granted, he's really good.
Yeah.
He brought in Robert Woods in the offseason.
Yeah.
He
From
brought
Buffalo,
in Brandon Cooks in the offseason. And he drafted Josh Reynolds. So he drafted 4.
Yep.
Only 5 going to be on the active roster,
Yep.
you know. So those 4. So all the other guys, me,
Thank you.
me, Tavon, Mike Thomas, all the other guys, we were just like, you know, what's going
What's gonna
on?
happen? Yeah.
So I kind of I remember OTAs, you know, I was starting in the slot receiver, you know, I was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
I thought I was, right?
Yeah.
So maybe first 2 weeks I'm starting in slot OTAs, and then probably we came back that next week. They said ones. They said Cooper Cup. It was like Cup. It was like Cup, go up to ones. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to understand, like,
Yeah.
okay, they drafted him. This is his guy. That's when I
This is
was
their
like,
baby
okay,
now, yeah.
this is the business side of it. So really, honestly, I had no choice but to pivot. For me to make that team,
Yeah.
I was gonna have to return punts and kicks.
Yeah.
And at the time, we already had Tavon returning punts. You know, Tavon's a punt returner, and
Yep.
we had another guy returning kicks. So I was really the backup at punt return and the start and at kick returner, and I had to be the backup slot. And then Tavon started muffing some punts. So it was like, cool, here's your opportunity to go catch some punts. And I was already a starting kick returner.
Yep.
And I was doing pretty well at that.
Yeah.
I already
It was
had
like 28 or 29 yards of return.
had like
that
28
year.
or 29, had a return touchdown.
Yep.
It was all right, let's put him at punt return. Tavon's kind of having some trouble. It kind of took off with punt return.
Yep.
That's when I made my name as I think I was all pro as a returner
Yep.
and a kick returner.
Yep.
And ever since then, though, I just got labeled as a returner.
Yeah.
Offense was no longer, there was nothing for me on offense.
But you still had to be in those meetings and still had
Still
to
had to
study.
be-
You were the emergency guy. Like you
Yeah.
still had to prep like a starter, which
Yeah,
is
I was
a lot.
the backup slot behind Cup, but Cup he did pretty well his rookie year too, and that was their guy. Like when I say that's their guy, I mean y'all watch the
He
game.
still
Right.
is.
Yeah. So I'm like, I ain't playing offense.
Was Stafford the quarterback then?
No, it was golf.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jared.
shit, that's
Jared
right.
Goff.
Fucking killing it.
He's
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's legit.
When he's on time, dude, he is accurate
Yeah.
and he's good.
Jared Goff. So that's kind of how that came. I wanted to play receiver.
Yeah.
In college, I didn't even have a return touchdown in college or as a punt returner. I just did it because I was the only one that trusted to catch the punt.
You're bigger, stronger, faster than everybody.
So I mean, that's kind of how that came about. I wanted to play receiver. I just never really, I guess, honestly, say I got the opportunity.
Talk about the injury in 18 then. That kind of like put your career in flux after that then.
Yeah. So then that year I went to the Pro Bowl, All Pro. I was on my high horse. I was, almost on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like
As you should be.
yeah,
in
I was
your
gonna say.
performance.
Especially as my second year in the NFL, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I do this 2 more years, get paid, whatever. Next 2018, I'm going into the season high. That first game of the season, we played the Raiders. Caught a punt, it rolled, whatever, got tackled, high ankle sprain. Couldn't put any weight on it, so got back, had surgery, had to go on IR. I think it was minimum 8 weeks at the time, 8 or 9 weeks at the time. And then we brought in a backup punt returner. It was like, hey, we're gonna bring him in, but once you get back healthy, we're gonna, get you back rolling, get you playing. Like you're our guy, whatever. And then, I was the business side of it, right? I came back healthy. They still had him at the punt return job. They still had him at the kick return job.
What the hell, guys?
And I'm not gonna say he was doing bad. I mean, he was doing well. I mean, he maybe muffed 1 or 2, but he did fine.
Yeah.
And then probably I came back 3 games played, and I got released. I got released maybe a week before Christmas.
Yeah.
And I remember they called me. I had like 4 missed calls. I was leaving the facility, and it was like, hey, I was ignoring it. I'm like, I don't know who's calling me. I didn't have the number saved. I'm like, And I finally answered because it kept blowing me up. And it was like, hey, don't leave the facility. Please come back. I forgot. It was like, we're about to release you.
Jeez.
That's
a nasty breakup, man.
And I was like, huh? So I turned around back into the facility, went inside. It was like, hey, we're going to have to release you. Todd is dealing with some stuff. We don't trust our backup running backs. We need to bring in C.J. Anderson.
Yep.
So they brought him in, released me, and honestly, after that, my career kind of just went from like literally, I guess 3 months, went from on the highest of the mountain just straight down.
Yeah.
It was just went to Arizona and it was just
And you ended up playing for 5 years after you were
Yeah,
released.
after that. Yeah.
Which is like, obviously, like the talent was there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, go for it.
well, I was going to say, just with Mike Davis, he said kind of similar story. You know, he was in a kind of a dark place.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
how'd you get out of that? As you just said, you played 5 years after that.
Then you go sign somewhere else and go take my mind off of it and go
I ain't
play.
even gonna lie. I'm still really not even like.
Still messes with you?
Yeah, it still kind of messes with you because, don't get me wrong, you know, God has a plan for everything and how my life planned out, and
Right.
you know, the people I've met by going to Arizona,
Yeah.
playing for Carolina, the Giants, or whoever I played for, you know, I met, you know, people that, you know, I guess it's all part of the plan, but, you know, I still to this day always think about, like, you know, why, or it shouldn't have been like that,
Yeah.
you know? So, you know, it does still bother me, and it puts you in a dark place, right? Especially going from such a high to a low that quick,
Yeah.
all because you got hurt, you know? Like,
Right.
you mean to tell me I did all this for you last year for the team? I get hurt one time and I just, you know, get kicked to the curb. So, you know, I still kind of get emotional. I don't really think about it too much, but I can still get emotional about it.
Yeah, don't bring it up, dude. Come on, I don't want to cry on our podcast.
But, you know, that's the business side of it, I guess.
It is. I mean, it is fascinating, like how, you know, like they need a running back. And they're like, who is number 46 in the roster that's not going to, like, impact us that much? And, like,
So it's how quickly the wind tides change.
Yeah, that's something I'm thinking. I'm like, it's 53 guys on the roster, and you mean to tell me I'm the 53rd guy?
Right.
That I'm the first guy you look to release to get a new one after I just went, you know, all pro.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo. So, you know, for a long time, like, I was really mad.
You overcame a lot to go through that, get out of that headspace, and then do 5 years after that. You did 7 years in the NFL. You just retired a year and a half ago.
I mean, I believe that year, that 2017 year, honestly kept me in the league. Those 5 years. I remember going to Arizona. That's why I remember they labeled me a return guy. I remember Vance Joseph came on, him and Cliff. It was like he met me in the cafeteria. Vance Joseph was like, "Oh, you're that return guy." He didn't say nothing about receiver.
I
He
play
was like,
receiver
you're that
too.
return guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's me, whatever. So I just
Check my college
had to take it and run with it. You know, I was just a return guy in the NFL, and you know, at that point, I knew for me to stay in the NFL, I would have to return punts and kicks and just, you know, take care, you know, pay the bills by doing that.
Yeah.
You did that, and you held on for a long time. What's your favorite Coach Spurrier story? Do you have any? I guess keep it PG-13.
No, you can go on with it.
Yeah, we got Dakota for that.
Nah, Coach Spurrier, I think we had a game one time. I can't remember who he was talking to. It might have been Brandon. Do y'all remember the name Brandon Nosovich? We had lost the game. I think Brandon was playing for a little bit.
He broke all of Dan Marino's records at the high school level in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Brandon Nosovich is the most prolific high school quarterback in the state of Pennsylvania.
Really?
Wow.
I did not know that. I wouldn't think that either.
I've heard stories.
Brandon had made he did something, and Spurrier was like, you know, he had his little clipboard. It was like, he's like, you know what, Brandon, it's not your fault. You know, it's my fault. It's not your fault. It was my fault. I put your dumb ass in there.
Oh, hell was the
worst.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about like coming back in 2022. You came back, got your degree. What was the importance of that? Was that pushed by mom and dad? Was that just a personal thing you wanted to do? Come back to get your degree?
For the degree?
Yep.
Yeah, my dad really influenced that. You know, once I made that decision to leave early, he was like, hey, man, you know, you might not need, it's better to have it. You know, it's better to have it and not need it than, you know, to need it and not have it. So it was like, hey, man, just make a promise to me, go back and get your degree.
So many guys don't take advantage of that, which, I mean, kudos to you for, like, you didn't need it, but you came back and you got it, and then, like, kind of.
Another thing was free. It was taken care of.
Yep.
You know, I guess you have a certain GPA you have to maintain, but the NFL pays for it. South Carolina helps you with the academic advisors, get you tutors and whatnot. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll go back and get my degree. You know, this is like I'm, you know, USC alumni, and when I did get my degree, it felt great. You know,
Heck yeah.
To have that and say I'm officially USC alum. Like, you know, before I went to South Carolina, I wasn't even an alum. You know, I was just a Gamecock. So, you know, it feels good to say I'm a, University of South Carolina alumni. And, it was a big thing for me. I got it, hanging up in my man cave and whatnot. You know, that's something they can't take away.
Right.
No doubt.
So, my dad had a big influence on that, for sure.
All right, next phase of life. Football's in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, that's gone. Yeah.
Tell us what you got going on.
Look at him. He's
Yeah.
tensing up. He's
I
like,
know.
football.
I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, man, I got 2 quarters in me. I can give you 2 great quarters.
Yeah.
Tell us about your.
And pecan whiskey. It's good. Yeah, solid. Let me borrow the watch. Nah, you good. You good. You good.
All right, Pharoh, you're like relatively newly engaged.
Yeah.
Tell us about your fiance. Brag on her a little bit. We wouldn't be where we are without our better half.
Yeah, for sure. So I met my fiance. It's crazy. I mean, she doesn't heard the story, but I was with my ex at the time, playing for the Panthers, and during COVID, I was playing the game, whatever. Turned my video game off, and just regular TV came on, whatever, HDMI 1. And Fear Factor was on. The Ludacris, not Joe Rogan. It's the new Fear Factor, Ludacris. So they were, introducing the contestants and whatnot. And she was up there, her and her friend. I'm like, dang, like,
Who's that?
like, yeah, who that? This girl's cute. Like, they put her name in, whatever. Her name's Lene. Lene and Alexis. So I went to Instagram, just see.
Because it's that easy at this point. Yeah.
So I typed in Lene. Ended up finding it after a while. And we had mutual friends. She lived in California. She did real estate out there, and
Thank you.
I sent her a DM. Well, before I sent her a DM, I did my due diligence.
Yep.
And I called some of my guys, like, yo, who is this? Like,
You got to do your due diligence.
And I guess it was kind of in the green because I didn't know who she was at the time. And we was out there. I was, you can imagine what we were doing. Everybody know everybody.
Yeah. Small world. It gets real small.
It's a small world once
Eskimo brothers.
Once you get out there.
God.
So I'm like, it's a good thing that I didn't know her, right? So I called a couple people, like, hey, she was like, she had a long time boyfriend, whatever. They just broke up, whatever. She's cool people. So all right, I slid her DM, say, hey, how was Fear Factor? How'd it go?
Pretty smooth.
Yeah, some chill stuff, She replied back, hey, I'm Lene. It was cool. And then we just kicked it off. And
That's awesome.
After the season, I went out there to California. We met in person, and we clicked instantly. And now, it's my fiance.
So it wasn't a catfish deal like who was the Notre Dame guy? Monte Taylor.
I ain't going out like that. I ain't going.
You got to California like, who is this freaking moose?
Yeah, so that's how we met. Saw on the TV show. That's what I'm saying.
That's
Everything
awesome.
kind of happens for a reason.
Yep.
Like,
God works in mysterious ways, man.
Yeah, like I got cut from the Rams because maybe if I would have went, another good 2 years, I probably would have never came to play for the Panthers and seen her on TV.
Right.
And, that's what I'm saying. Everything kind of happens for a reason.
It's like me when I broke my foot my rookie year, and like no telling if I would have married my wife if I was out there in San Diego living the rookie life.
Yeah,
Came back here and kind of God forced his hand on.
Yeah, so it worked out. That's how we met, and we rocking strong.
Yeah.
That's my lady. Yeah.
What you up to now, man? Living in Charlotte.
Charlotte.
What you up to?
Real estate and golf.
Okay.
Yep, real estate and golf. I found a big passion for real estate when COVID hit.
Yeah.
That's kind of when the market took
yeah,
off.
That was a good time.
I know.
And I first and before that, I went from 2016 to 19. I was a young cat buying designer.
Yep.
Sections, bottles, clubs.
Bullshit. Just depreciating.
I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna make money forever.
I'm
just
gonna
not
go to the Hall of
knowing.
Fame. I'm gonna play 10 years. And don't get me wrong, I don't regret any of it, right? I have fun.
Part of your story.
It ain't
man.
like I'm bankrupt or whatever. I have fun. I don't regret anything. And then COVID came. My financial advisor sat down and said, "Hey, let's get a rental property."
Yeah.
I first bought my rental property in my hometown of Havelock, North Carolina. Relatively cheap compared to some bigger cities.
But you saw what it did.
Yeah, saw what it did. And once I bought my first rental property and I got my first, direct deposit from my tenant.
Mailbox money is actually
Yeah, my
happening.
mailbox money. My whole mindset just changed. Like, I'm like, this is what it's about.
Right. I don't have to do anything, and I'm just getting paid.
Yeah, I'm like, this is what it's about. So I'm like, it made me feel so good to see that direct deposit in my account and not have to do anything. And I own it. And I know it's going to keep going up in value. And I got a tenant. I'm like, let me just keep doing this again. So I kind of just shifted my whole mindset from clothes, jewelry. Don't get me wrong, I still buy, nice stuff, right?
Yep.
But it's just kind of, I'm more so real estate and, kind of networking and making connections, for life after football.
I see you being
Love
very
hearing that.
entrepreneurial moving forward. I see you, especially in Charlotte. Charlotte's growing like crazy. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities.
Yeah.
But that goes into, man, having the right people in your corner.
Yeah.
Having a financial advisor that's going to push you, take you out of your comfort zone, kind of living that life. and then like redirection you like, hey, you ought to look into this. You ought to learn a little about this.
Yeah.
That's
And
fascinating.
it's fun. Yeah, it's fun once you get into it, start talking about it. I can talk about it all day.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's the majority of your life. I mean, football is a freaking blip
yeah.
on the scale of your life.
Right.
All right. You ready for this?
Are you ready?
We gave you a little heads up.
I think so.
We gave you about 45-minute heads up, so you've been turning on this.
You go ahead and get the first one.
This
Go
is
ahead.
from your time at South Carolina.
At
So
South
13
Carolina.
to 15. Funniest teammate.
Victor Hampton.
Vic,
Oh.
Vic was crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, he's definitely not going to be this.
funny crazy.
He's not going to be this selection for you. Who's the smartest teammate?
That's good. That's good.
It's crazy.
I'm just kidding. Man, I love Vic. I still talk to him all the time. He's funny as shit.
Smartest teammate.
Who's the engineer?
I was about to say, who was the kicker?
God, man. I tell you, we had a bad class. Like they were.
All right, there were no smart teammates. Let's go on to the
I'll
strongest
probably say
teammate.
Dylan Thompson.
Dylan, that's a
Dylan
good one.
Thompson. I'll say Dylan.
Who's the strongest teammate? Weight room.
Strongest. Probably. I want to say Cedric Cooper, maybe.
Oh, shit, yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
one.
I want to say
That
Cedric.
is, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Cedric.
Who was a freak? Yeah.
He
All right.
He was a freak.
Yes.
Who is kind of already answered this one? Who's the slowest teammate physically?
Physically or mentally?
Physically.
Running slow.
Slow. Golly, man.
Who's the fattest, most sluggish? Who's the guy that made everybody miss all the?
Yeah,
conditioning
everybody
time?
had a guy like that.
His name was Abu.
Abu. That sounds like a slow person.
Abu. Never made the conditioning time.
Yeah. I probably never stepped on the field.
Yeah,
He was like
that-
Abu. I don't even remember his last name.
All right, who was Sleepy Joe? Who was the sleepiest teammate? You good, bro?
No, you're good, man. No, you're good.
Sweetest.
Who's the one that Coach Spurrier called out?
Cheers.
Stand up, stay away.
Cheers, brother.
Sky Moore.
Sky Moore, okay.
Sky Moore.
Who was the most responsible? Or do
He
you
calls
just
it.
ask
He
that?
calls it the Pat.
Yeah, who's the
DeMarco
Pat
team.
DeMarco of the locker room?
Probably Dylan too, right?
Yeah, probably Dylan too.
I would.
Yeah, probably Dylan.
Who was the asshole troublemaker teammate? Like, who's your Garcia teammate?
Victor Hampton?
Probably David Washington.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
David, was he a
probably one-
receiver?
No, he was a defensive end.
DN?
Yeah.
Okay.
You probably didn't know some of these guys. I'm saying that team, you wouldn't know a lot of these guys that I'm naming.
Hey, but I mean,
That's wild.
everybody's a part. I mean, whether you played a little, played a lot,
Yeah.
you wore the garnet and black, you have blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
on the proving
David,
grounds.
I
in
think
Williams-Brice
David
Stadium.
Washington. Yeah, David. He was a trip. He was a trip.
Well, dude, congrats again. 2024 Hall of Fame.
So that's huge, man.
Set yourself in the history books forever.
That's huge.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Proud of you.
Dude, appreciate
Appreciate
you coming
you
on
joining
here,
us.
man.
Yeah.
Cheers. Have fun, I guess, during the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna enjoy the first
what's-
time tailgating and all that, so it'll be fun.
What's next for you? Kids?
Yeah, kids. So got the fiance. We're gonna go to Vegas and get married.
Yeah.
Legally married, and then kids is in the works.
Nothing better, man.
Yeah,
He's got 3. I got 4.
Yeah.
If you want parental advice, hit
Ask
us up.
him.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's kind of been really the main thing I've been, looking forward to.
Charlotte's a great place to raise a family, too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Soak it all up this weekend. Gamecock Nation loves you. You did a lot for this place. And future's bright, real estate, whatever you're getting into, man. We're proud of you.